เรียกแนวเงี้ย Good morning and welcome to the Sunday service. This morning we're going to do meditation for a few minutes. After the meditation we have Dhamma talk. Our speaker today, our good friend Sai Marjan, so he can start his meditation. So Sai, you can, after the meditation, you can have your Dhamma talk also. So I was thinking to give everything for the Sai this morning to do, and even he have a short hair, I was thinking to give again ordination program.
I was
So
prepared.
then he can be in temple as like a monk again.
Again,
We don't have to give any training or anything. Okay, so you can start.
I still remember the Pali too, Bante, so it'll be easy for you. Um, okay. Dear Venerable Bantes, Bante Santi, and their Dhamma friends, it's a good, it's always good to be here, with or without robe. It's always good to talk about Dhamma and reunion with people, like-minded people, who are interested in reflecting in some teachings of the Buddha, engaging in a form of self-care, practicing meditation, practicing loving kindness, and giving yourself a little break from a busy life. So, without further ado, let's sit down in a position that makes you somewhat comfortable for the next couple of minutes. And as you sit there, relaxed, close your eyes as gently as you were to sleep, and try to bring your attention to your nostril. Remain curious like a child. Expect nothing. As you focus your attention, you bring your attention to your nostril. Take a deep breath and let go slowly and gently. And take another deep breath and exhale gently. This time when you take a deep breath, you can make a mental note, breathing in, breathing in, breathing in. As you breathe out, make another mental note, breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. Continue making mental note as you breathe in and breathe out. You may need to use some effort if your attention is not there. Perhaps You can focus on the sensation that occurs right at the edge of your upper lip, the airflow gently touching your upper lip. When you breathe out, you may notice slightly warm air. When you breathe in, the air is cooler. Just notice the sensation. You're noticing that warm air is a form of element, that you're noticing Tejo Dhatu, the element of heat, the element of cold. Just notice the sensation and breathe in and breathe out. You may also notice a subtle hardness on your buttock where you're sitting. The hardness is another element. You're experiencing the element of hardness. In Pali we call Pathavi Dhatu. You may also notice minor heat along with the hardness on the seat, on your buttock, or even under your sole, that touching the ground. So you notice that these elements coexist. They share similar physical properties. You're noticing the heat element and also the hardness element. When you're breathing in, the air flows in. You notice that your lungs are expanding, and so are your abdomen. The expansion is the presence of air element. You're noticing the air element in your abdomen. Its nature is to expand. And when you breathe out, you notice the contraction of your lungs and your chest and your abdomen. Again, you're noticing the air element inside your body. You may also notice a gentle touch of air on your skin. It may feel subtle pressure, or even temperature-wise cooler. Now you're noticing the air element and also the element of heat. As you sit there some time, you may notice a throbbing sensation around your forehead or right below your face around your neck. That sensation is related to the liquid element, the Apo Dhatu. The nature of Apo Dhatu, or the liquid element, is flowing. And that gives you the sense of throbbing within your body. Or if you're swallowing saliva, you're experiencing saliva, not the saliva itself, but the flow of that liquid. That is another element. As you may notice now, within your body, you're able to experience all these four elements constantly changing its nature. Sometime you may notice one element prominently than the other. And you should know, when you meditate, this could be one of the objects for you to practice meditation. And simply notice their nature. Sometime it could give you pleasant sensation. If you notice that, try your best not to cling onto the pleasant sensation. Sometimes it gives you unpleasant sensation. Again, make the best attempt not to push away the unpleasant sensation. Remain equanimous. As mentioned earlier, remain curious as a child. Be open to these experiences and notice them in the present moment with full awareness, with full attentiveness, with full attention. Maintain your mindfulness and attentiveness as it is. This time we'll shift our attention from paying attention to bodily sensation to generating some wholesome thoughts associated with kindness, associated with compassion, and associated with sympathetic joy. Just in the same manner you paid attention to 4 elements within your body and even outside. Using this, our mind and body, let's generate some kind thoughts toward ourselves and others. Again, with genuine intention. Say these words in your mind as you meant it. You meant to say this to yourself and others. Repeat after these prompts in your mind silently and try your best to feel those thoughts and emotions that may accompany those thoughts. May I be free from hatred. May I be free from ill will. May I be free from envy, jealousy, and all negative thoughts. May no harm come to me. May no trouble come to me. May I take care of myself happily. May I live in peace and harmony. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. Like myself, my parents, my teachers, my partner, my children, my relatives, and all my kins, my friends and colleagues, my employers and employees, all the human beings that I associate on a daily basis, all the human beings that is related to me in any form, all the living beings, near and far, large and small, strong and weak, rich and poor, born and unborn. May they all be free from hatred. May they be free from ill will and jealousy. May they be free from envy and aversion. May no harm come to them. May no trouble come to them. May they all take care of themselves happily. May they all live in peace and harmony. May they be well, happy, and peaceful. May we all live in peace and harmony. May we all be tolerant toward each other. May we all appreciate others' great qualities and share our strength. May we all be well, happy, and peaceful. May we all be well, happy, and peaceful. May we all be well, happy, and peaceful. I seek forgiveness from those whom I offended, mentally, physically, and verbally, intentionally or unintentionally. May they all forgive my mistakes. I forgive all of them, those who offended me, mentally, verbally, or physically, intentionally or unintentionally. I forgive all of their mistakes. May we all live in peace and harmony. May we all strive to achieve the liberation from this samsaric journey. Okay, you may open your eyes when you're ready. Dear Dhamma friends, dear Venerable Sirs, I hope that was a good, brief mindfulness practice, meditation practice. Like I mentioned, you can choose many objects to practice meditation. And what you tried today is trying to be mindful of different elements in our body. And the purpose is to how to train our mind to stay focused on our body and the sensations. So I chose a sutta called Chulla Kamma Vibhanga for today's Dhamma talk. Just a little bit of a dialogue. I'll start with a story. This young man who was performing a ritual for his beloved father who passed away. And he was, it's an ancient story, so just imagine he bought many items to offer to his father, which is very common in Hindu culture. In Nepal, we still see that. I have short hair because I shaved maybe a little over a couple of weeks, 3 weeks ago, to honor my uncle who passed away. So I'm not ready to become monk Bante again, but that was the reason I've shaved. It's a tradition that, honoring, but this young man was honoring with food who already passed. And Buddha happened to pass by that place. And Buddha asked, "What are you doing?" And he answered, "Oh, I'm trying to share these things, this food and drink with my father who passed away." And Buddha asked, "Do you think it will arrive to your father who is already dead?" And well, I'm not sure. We just do this because this is how we transport to the one who has passed away. And Buddha gave an example like, well, that has to do with how the person lived, right? And the young man was a little defiant, like, no, if we do this, they will go to heaven. That's the belief. And Buddha wanted to explain to him with a little different analogy. He asked, "Can you bring some rocks and a bottle of oil and put them in 2 different pots, and I want you to throw them into the water and make sure that you pray that the rock stay afloated and the oil sink under the water." And the young man tried. Of course, that's not going to happen, and didn't happen. So you prayed, you wished for the rock to stay afloated and the oil to sink. It didn't happen. Why? Because the nature of the rock, it's heavy, so it's supposed to sink. And oil is supposed to stay afloated. That's the nature. And that's what Buddha explained. Oh, so you know what nature does. You cannot change the nature just because you wish for. And that's where this sutta about the karma makes really good sense, and I want to connect that with the emotions that we deal with every day. And when this Chulla Kamma Vibhanga Sutta from Majjhima Nikaya, the Middle Length Discourse, gives a nice summary of, it's a long sutta, but I brought it down to 6 emotions that we deal with. And I strongly believe that if you read the Buddhist script or psychology, emotions are emotions. There is little we can do about when you feel certain emotion. You lose somebody, sadness is bound to happen. That's the nature, right? When there's a loss, there is sadness. And when there is a gain, there's a joy. There's an excitement. You cannot suppress. Some people are well trained to maintain their poker face when they're excited or sad. I was attending a funeral a long time back in Nepal. A Japanese family died in Nepal, a family member, and they had a funeral in our temple, the temple I was residing. I have never seen such a stoic faces during funeral. They were trained well. Imagine my mom was here. I think she was here actually when Bhante Vinita passed, and she was like weeping very strongly. She couldn't hide her emotions. So emotions are emotions. Whether you hide it or not, you are bound to experience them. But you can train to how do you react to them? How do you respond or express them? So emotions are there, and in this sutta, I found the 6 types of emotions. Number one is that emotion associated with, of course, anger. When you're angry, the extreme part of anger is you hurt somebody, right? And let me give you a little background where the sutta comes from. This young man who was Subhadra, he was surprised at why people are so different. Why some people have this long life, some people live short, some people are very influential, some people are not. Some people are pretty, beautiful, some people are ugly, and some people are wise, some people are unwise. And the Sutta translation was like a foolish, I don't want to say foolish, but unwise. Why discrimination? And if you look at your own life, you've seen people. And in your own family, you've seen that variation. And it makes you wonder, why is this difference? Why are these individuals so different? And Buddha gave an explanation. Now, I don't want you to think that that's the only explanation. There's one explanation is it could be kammasaka komhi kamma bandhu kamma patisarana. The humans are inherited by karma. So the karma that you have done in this life, in the past, and you continue to refine it. And that karma is inherited to define how your life is going to be, not in a deterministic way. You are a product of what you have done in the past and in the present. So Buddha explained this, trying to connect, and the purpose of the learning about understanding or learning about karma is to change how we behave. And one of the very early part is some people have those who are violent, those who kill other living beings, basically not following the first precept, Panadipata. So we try to tell people, those who kill, they don't die necessarily, they tend to have short life. So that's the connection. People, those who engage in violent act, they tend to have apayuko. They have a very short life. So the emotion that related to aggression can lead to having brevity. That's the word I looked up. Short life, short living lifespan. And people, those who don't engage in hurting other living beings, or not hurting, killing other living beings, they have longevity. Now, if you think of in our life, a lot of people think we try to connect. Some people live long, some people live short, and we know from the health perspective and medical perspective, maybe they have a different life practice. I agree. If you eat healthy, if you exercise, you may have a longevity. If you don't, of course, then you don't live long. But is that only the reason? Some people, some individuals you might have seen, they live a lot longer despite how they have managed their life. And they may give different answers. One way to understand from Buddhist perspective is perhaps those individuals have practiced non-violent lifestyle, this life and life before. And whether that is true or not, if you wish for longevity, now you know the message. And that's how I see the Buddha's teaching. If you wish for longevity, the message is engage in non-violent actions. Don't hurt others, right? And the second pair is people, those who are aggressive toward others. That means not killing per se. Again, that emotion is associated with anger, right? Aggression comes from anger, and emotions are there, but how you respond to them. When somebody mistreats you, you feel angry, you feel unfair. Now, how you respond to those emotions is more important than emotion itself. Anger is not the key. How you respond to anger is the key. So some people go ahead and be aggressive toward others, be hurtful toward others. Physically, it could be verbally. And that lead to the karmic consequence of aggressiveness is a lot of illness. You have a lot of illness. You're not healthy. And the flip side, those who don't engage in aggressive behavior, they tend to have good health. Now we see, if you wish for good health, the message is practice non-aggressive behavior. Try to have that kindness. And that's what I like about gatherings on Sundays here in temple or anywhere. And even people, those who go to church, I like their practice because you're reminded, what are you lacking? If you want to enjoy good health, one way to earn that good health is non-aggressive thoughts. And that goes beyond just like a physical part. When you practice loving kindness, I've said this many times, mentally you can sit down and say, may you be well, may you be happy. Can you put that into practice when you go and deal with difficult people? Are you still in the equanimous mindset when you're dealing with a difficult driver who's trying to hurt you, or a person who's trying to say mean things to you? That's where the actual tests come in. right? And that's the second one. And the third one is envy. So if those people who cannot stand. Now I looked up, and Issa in Pali is jealousy. So jealousy has to do with you wish for what someone else has. That's the emotion, right? Jealousy is an emotion. You want what other people have, and you're not happy about it because it's not given or received to you. Now, this envy is beyond that. You want them to be destroyed. You don't want them to have it. You try to destroy what they have. That leads to poverty. So people, those who are, the Issa leads to ugly appearance. The people, those who have look, it's like a not very pleasant appearance. And I'll talk about the other three in a different meeting, but to stop here, in people, those who are practicing loving kindness, we try to practice this every day because it will change how we look. Now, I'm not talking about just the physical look, but the personality itself. And I cannot emphasize enough the power of loving kindness. And in another different sutta, Buddha has explained, to become calm and to enjoy a good life. Loving kindness itself has a lot of power. In this Metta Anisañsa Sutta, Sukhang Supati, Sukhang Patibujjati. People, those who practice loving kindness, they tend to sleep well and they wake up well. And if you think of we are losing sleep, why is it? Why do we lose sleep? We have a lot of thoughts that constantly producing more. We are angry, we're anxious. All these thoughts keeps you awake. And it's not only about being kind to others, but also kind to yourself, which is hard. It's very hard practice to be kind to yourself. Setting certain achievable goals. And I see in my school, in my classrooms, students set themselves very high goals and that remain anxious, that they're hurting themselves mentally. So practicing loving kindness starts from yourself, and that is why every time when you do loving kindness with Buddhist meditation, we try to say, Ahang awero homi. I want to be, may I be free from hatred. Ahang avyapajyo homi. May I be free from ill will. It's not about others, but yourself. If you don't treat yourself with that kindness, how can we expect that you treat others with the same kindness? And that can be developed to the point that leads to enlightenment, right? And the loving kindness meditation is very powerful, and it can lead to you can sleep well. And this is the opposite of jealousy. People, those who are jealous, they tend to seek others' prosperity or not enjoy others' prosperity. And one last story, that how can you express this sympathetic joy or mudita? And during the Buddha's time, you can express in many ways. One of the best students that Buddha had was Bhante Sariputta. And there was an old man who was serving temple for many years, and he wanted to become a monk. And Buddha asked, is there anybody who wants to be the sort of a co-teacher to this old monk, an old person who wanted to become a monk? And Venerable Sariputta moved forward and said, I would be happy to do that. I would be happy to ordain him as my teacher, as my student, because I remember there was one day he served me some meal when I was sick, and I want to show that gratitude to this person and continue to support him and continue to see him prosper. And that Sariputta Bhante's story should exemplify that loving kindness, having that loving kindness is not just sitting down and practicing and saying those nice things to others, but also practicing them in everyday life whenever you have opportunity. So we'll talk about the other three of the pairs in the next meeting. But I hope you will remember. And if you want to practice, if you wish for longevity, you need to engage in non-violent actions. If you wish for healthy lifestyle, you engage in non-aggressive behaviors. And if you wish for beautiful, to look attractive, to look pleasant person, you engage in non-envious or more like sympathetic joy practice. So I hope you continue to practice those few things, and we'll talk about others in next meeting. We'll take any questions you have.
Yes, if you have any question, any comment right now, we have a little time. Sai is here, you can ask the question.
Yes, Mr. Nam.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I was a little zoned out at the beginning, so I couldn't quite get the four elements. It's air, fire, or
Air, earth, fire. It's better to say it's the nature. So hardness is better term, or temperature. So that's the second one, and fluidity, and the pressure. So those are the four elements. Patavi is hardness, and Tejo is the heat or cold. It could be both. And Patavi Tejo. Apo is liquidity that flows, right? And Vayu is pressure, contraction and extraction. Those are the four elements.
oh, I see. So we cannot tie them to different things.
A lot of people consider like a fire as an element. Fire is not element. The nature of fire is the element. So it could be cold. So ice has also fire element, if you think of that. Because the water, when you boil, it's evaporate, right? It becomes a steam that has the heat element, and when it hardens, it becomes solid. And so using the water example, all those four elements exist together. There's they always exist together. What you notice is what is most prominent. When water is liquid, you notice the liquidity element the most, and other three elements kind of like dormant in there. And when it is heated, you notice the heat element more, and the other three elements are dormant.
Also, they change.
Which one express the most?
I see. Okay. Didn't you say that in your brain or something?
Oh, yeah. When you notice the throbbing, like when you I notice in my neck that the blood flow. So the throbbing is I notice that because of the liquidity. The blood is flowing. That's what you're noticing, the liquidity element.
Oh, I see. So if it's water, for instance, but it got frozen, it would be maybe hard.
It will be hard. Now you experience the hardness element the most. The other three are still there.
Okay. Then if it's a fire, or say if it's a tornado or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or does that move the air or something?
It has more air element, but it still has other three too.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't quite understand how to. I see. So it's more the nature rather than a specific.
The object itself. Yeah.
Because they will change, right?
That's right. That's right.
According to their natural propensity.
The interaction with the nature. Yep. Whatever is outside. And your body, that's what in meditation we talk about. Our body is made of these four elements, and one of them is always the prominent one, or the expression one, and the other three always remain dormant. Like when you breathe, it's air. It's an air element, but that also has other three. It has a temperature, it has a fluidity, it has a hardness. But what is most prominent is the air element in there.
So I suppose if a sentient creature dies or something, then a lot of these elements no longer.
They change to a different form.
Okay.
They will just like our body. When human die, only thing that changes is there is no consciousness. The elements are still there. Only the consciousness is departed from the body. Those elements continue to be there. It start to decay and it mixes with the nature, right? That's if you think of like a human. This is a carbon world, right? We continuously exchange. We breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide, so that continues even after humans are dead. Only thing that makes us different is we have consciousness that continue to experience these changes. But when someone is dead, there is no consciousness to experience this pain or pleasure, but element remains the same. They continue to mix with the other the environmental elements.
Okay, so when we see the stars in the sky,
Mm-hmm.
they say they are kind of already dead, right? The star.
Yeah, we are seeing the light that's been traveling for thousands of years, but the actual star may not exist anymore.
Okay.
So it's our perception of star, but not actual star still around. That's all I know about the stars.
I just, I like to get what people are saying. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Now, Ms. Nab, you had a hand up.
Yes, thank you, Russell, for the question. So you make more clear about four element thing. But why I want to mention that as the human is, even though if we all know, I all know about the sources of the angry or the emotion thing, but this is some very hard to control.
Mm-hmm.
The emotion just raises, angry and happy and all kind of thing. It's hard to control, but the meditation can help the mind is calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I want to mention that I remember a long time ago when you beginning came here, and you still with the bro,
Mm-hmm.
and you talk about when we get angry or greedy or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. This is like raise emotion. So just step back before you go further.
Mm-hmm.
And that word actually just guiding me from that day until now. I still practice, and it's worked very well. Of course, like I said earlier, as a human, I still get angry, I still get all kind of thing, but in my mind it's, oh, I'm angry, so I better stop now before I go further.
Yeah.
It's very helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nam. You remember a long time story, huh? That's
Well,
good.
That's a guiding lately, so it's very helpful.
Yes.
So I will remember until the rest of my life, until I die. Hopefully I can bring to my next life.
Oh, that's very good. That's very, very good wish to have. Yeah, I think it's not my teaching. It's the teaching in that set. One example is when somebody is very emotional, whether it's anger or jealousy or greed. You want something really bad. You want to hurt somebody really bad. That step back is in Vitakka Santana Sutta. It's a really nice teaching. I think I shared that before in these meetings. Is imagine if you're running, right? You cannot come to zero stop while you're running. The best way to do is you become mindful that if you're running, you tell yourself, why am I running? Let me walk fast. And when you're walking fast, you tell yourself, why I'm walking so fast? Let me walk slowly. And if you're walking so slowly, why I'm walking? Let me stand. And when you're standing, you ask yourself, why I'm standing? Let me lie down. Sit down and lie down. So you see, that's how you can catch yourself where your emotions are taking you. That's a practice of mindfulness, right? And one that's pause. And we forget that we can pause. That's the whole purpose of practicing mindfulness. If you don't know that's possible, then you're not practicing it right. If you can catch, it's a very split second. It's a split second pause you take. before you do something about strong emotion. And that split second, I think you have mastered it, Mr. Nam. You earned it. You managed to see in that split second, do I have to say this? Do I have to do this? Just because my emotions are so strong. That helps. One way to do is like a, slowly pacing down. The other way is like a adinava. Think of the negative consequences. What happens if I do this? Or try to think of where did this come from? The origin. And most of the time, the origin is ego. And you get strong emotions because of ego. You don't want to be second. It be any setting. You don't want to be second to anybody. Your ego is so strong. You want to say something. You're a man, you're a woman, you're a boss, you are so-and-so. And that ego eats you. That's why, and that ego is like a pure, the arrogance. I have the next point when you talk next time. And what happens when people are too arrogant? Okay, spoiler alert. You become unwise. There you go. So arrogant people are unwise. That's the consequence of being too arrogant, too stubborn, right? So we'll talk more about that. It's really good to hear that you took that Buddha's teaching to your heart and it's helping you. I'm happy.
Thank you.
You will be talking about that after the election.
Oh boy, good time, good time. Have a good timing, yes.
Who's wise and not wise,
That's true. When 13, I'll be back in somewhere November 10th. Yes. I'm not sure if I'll be coming here though. Oh, thank you, Buddha.
All right. Okay, thank you, Sai. I have a lot of questions also, I will ask later. So, we will chant the page 4 and page 10. And next Sunday, I believe the Subodha is going to give a Dhamma talk, so please come and join. Okay, we chant page 4 and page 10. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Sentient beings are numberless, Thank you again for everybody. Thank you, Sai. Next Sunday, as I mentioned, Subodho is going to give a Dhamma talk. So we have tea and cookies. Please stay with us. By the power of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, you all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.